welcome to the Enter Shaolin podcast. I'm Sije Pelaez, and this is Sifu Phu Rivera.
What's up?
And we are Enter Shaolin. What's up? So what are we going to talk about this week?
Well, let's talk about the fact that we haven't done a podcast in a while.
In the past 2 weeks?
Yeah, we've been busy. We've been busy just getting our site work done.
Yeah.
Time goes by so fast.
It does. It does.
It's
so
warm out.
We are really sorry.
warm out.
We have had the intention of doing this weekly, but the past couple weeks, things have just gotten past us with all the different things we've been doing for the site. And we also started a new members Q&A webinar, so we just kind of got acclimated with getting that going, and now we're adding this back in. And so just bear with us as we work out all the funky schedule and all that stuff. But what are we going to talk about this week?
You know, I thought this week we'd talk about something that seems to be common. I've taught a lot of people over the years, and I've been through a lot of my own problems with it, and I know you've been through your own problems with it. And if you don't know what we're talking about, we're going to talk about depression this week.
Yes, depression.
Because I think, a lot of people get depressed intermittently, and they don't realize that the problem that they're having is an actual real problem. Depression, isn't just feeling sad. People feel sad for all kinds of different reasons. You know what I mean? Like you feel sad when you lose a pet or a loved one. And other things that make you feel sad. That's not depression. There's signs for depression. You might be very lethargic, tired. You don't feel like doing nothing.
Right. It seems like no matter how much you sleep, you're just not getting enough sleep, that type of thing.
Yeah, and it's very real. And a lot of people get it, like I said, off and on. And I think we wanted to bring this up this week because we wanted to let you guys know that it is something that does happen. And it can hinder your martial arts training. It can hinder, just about every single thing that you do.
Right.
And
and depression manifests itself in multiple ways, and sometimes like you might see someone at work or at school or just out and about that that you see on a regular basis, and they may seem like they're really happy-go-lucky, but really behind the door, behind closed doors, like they have anxiety. They're always wondering if they're good enough, or so. Depression's not always it's not a one-size-fits-all thing.
Body dysmorphia.
Right. It doesn't manifest itself the same in every single person. And sometimes people that you think have no problems at all are the most depressed people that you know. So don't always assume just because someone seems like they're happy that everything is going right, And if you're a person that is able to read energy, usually you can pick up when someone is, faking it, that they're happy and all that stuff.
And, a lot of times, especially in today's culture, what a lot of people do is they automatically go for the drugs.
Right. They go to the doctor, hey, I'm feeling a little depressed, this, that, and the other. And usually 9 times out of 10, instead of seeing what other things can be changed to help improve that depression or totally get rid of it, usually a doctor is just going to prescribe you something. Same with a lot of, sometimes if you go to therapy and stuff like that, sometimes they'll end up going that way as well. But there's a lot of stuff that you can do before you go that route. I know for me, personally, have you ever been on anything for depression?
I was.
So how did you get
on that? A long time
and
ago.
what
I must have been
happened with
over almost 14 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was when I was having my first kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't in a financial spot that I wanted to be in. And I was feeling overwhelmed, like, oh my God, I'm going to be a parent. And what led to it was I felt like driving my car into a tree.
That's pretty extreme.
It was pretty extreme, but it was that because I had that thought in my head. Actually,
you were worried, right? Because
I never had a thought like that. I never had a thought like that before. I just felt super overwhelmed, and so I did take medication. What did I take? I took Zoloft. And interestingly, I took it for a total of a month and a half. Mm-hmm. And I would say that it took the edge off of how I was feeling, but the side effects were so bad.
So what side effects did you have?
Man, I didn't feel like doing anything.
So you didn't feel like killing yourself, but
I just didn't feel like doing anything.
You were just like, meh.
Yeah, and I just wanted to stuff my face, and it took the edge off of me wanting to ram my car into something or.
Well, I guess that part's at least good.
Mm-hmm. I was getting up and going through the motions. Before I was on it for that small period of time, I just wanted to sleep. Mm-hmm. But then when I was taking it, I did want to get up. I just didn't really want to do anything once I was up. I wasn't having really bad thoughts. I wasn't having any thoughts. So I just kind of felt like numb. Numb is the word I want to use. And so
what made you get off of it, and roughly how long were you on it? I know that was a while ago, so you may not remember exactly.
I wasn't training. And somewhere in my mind, I knew, man, I don't feel good. I don't feel energetic. I don't feel my actual age even, because I was a young spry back then. And so I felt that, hey, dude, I got to change something. So that's what I want to talk about, right? Like how I got out of depression. How, like, even when I get into, I want to call them like mini bouts of depression,
right?
Which really a lot of it's a lot of self-doubt.
Right. And I should preface, we are not doctors, physicians, therapists, none of that stuff. We're just sharing our personal experiences, what's worked for us, what has not worked for us, in hopes that it will, A, help spread awareness that there's other options out there besides popping pills, and B, hopefully be an inspiration to someone that maybe is struggling with some of the similar things that we have, to look at those alternative options out there.
So the first big thing was, when you're depressed, at least when I'm depressed, you're looking for things to comfort you. And the first thing that people go for comfort is food. In my case, comfort food is anything super salty, sugary, greasy, fried, anything,
like
all the bad,
pizza,
everything bad.
Chicken cheese steaks, French fries.
Sure.
Right.
And that's the first thing, you go for to make yourself try to feel better. The problem is those things don't really make you feel better. They just start to make you feel worse.
Oh, yeah.
So the first thing to do is to look at how you're eating and realize that if you're in a depressed state, you're probably also eating food that is not good for you, and start making small changes. You don't have to be dramatic or aggressive at it, because anytime you're, all guns blazing in anything that you do, you end up overdoing it. You burn yourself out, and a lot of times people fail, whether it's weight loss, a program, a goal, or anything. They end up failing on it because they burn themselves out, and they do it so hard that they just peter out. So small minor changes to how you eat. If you're eating bagels every day, right, switch it up, have a yogurt. If you can't have a yogurt, you don't like yogurt, but you still like the bagels, right, then try to find a better source of bread.
And don't switch, I should preface, because like yogurt to some people is like the worst kind of yogurt. You're just trading sugar for sugar at that point in time. So definitely look for quality products. Obviously,
clean
ingredients.
That just should be understood, right? Like, look.
But not everyone knows that, so that's why I want to preface that, because if they switch it to something that's equally as bad, it's not really helping. Yeah.
So I think one of the things that is important about food is to understand what foods actually are working against you, and what foods are helping you, what sugars are good for you, what sugars may not be so good for you. And it's important to get vitamins and supplements and minerals and all that good stuff in your diet. So rather than thinking about going to the pharmacy and picking up a prescription, because when I got off of the Zoloft, I only did it for a short time, like a month and a half. I can't imagine people who take antidepressant medications for long.
Well, I have my own story with Zoloft, so whenever
so
I'll share mine. It was way less.
It also kills things like your sex drive. There's a lot of things that Zoloft does that just makes things weird for some people, and the effects are different for everyone.
It made me want to play in traffic.
Right. Well,
that was bad. It was not good.
And then coming off of it, I had headaches, and I was nauseous all the time, and I was angry. I don't know how to say it. I just was real snappy. It was that withdrawal symptoms from it. So after that experience, I was like, man, I don't want to do this crap no more. This sucks. So what I ended up doing was, first I changed how I was eating a little bit, right? And then, so the first thing to help you with your depression is change your eating habits,
Right. Unless you're like obviously already like eating like the perfect diet, you're not eating a lot of processed food, you're eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, you're still dealing with depression. I mean, if you've cleaned up, like let's say you're a raw vegan, that's depressed, which I haven't heard of any raw vegans that have this problem, but if you're already at that, then there's other things that you might need to do, like add in exercise and meditation and finding things that bring joy to you to help with that. But if you know, like, you're eating the standard American diet, or you're eating a lot of junk food, a lot of processed foods, then that's where you start. You start with the diet.
Right. And if you're not a raw vegan, right, eat good, wholesome meats. Don't
Right. If
meats.
you're going to eat meat,
stay away from spam, stuff like that.
Well, you should, if you can, get it locally where the butcher, how the animal was taken care of.
Or spend a couple bucks and try to buy better quality meat.
Right, organic meats and stuff like that. Well, that would be spending a couple bucks to do that.
Sure.
If you can't raise them yourself and make sure that they're eating their proper diet and healthy and good, then you find someone that is doing that and you buy from them.
The next thing to do, right, is, it seems obvious, exercise. But the purpose of the exercise and while you're depressed is not to lose weight or not to get into shape, or none of that stuff matters. What matters is that you get your body just moving, right? Exercise makes you feel better.
Yes.
And
all that other stuff will just be like a side benefit, but you need the endorphins, the extra drive to be happier and healthier.
For depression, I found cardiovascular exercise is more helpful than say like powerlifting.
Right.
And I think it's because, you spread it out a little bit longer, and maybe, first you start with walking, and then you start with jogging after you get used to walking for a while, and then after you're jogged for a while, you want to switch it up a little bit, you go bicycling, or you can go on an elliptical machine at a gym or in your living room, or you could jump rope, right? You could just keep switching up this exercise. I tell people what's important isn't the exercise. What's important is you making time for the exercise. Mm-hmm. And to get I think for you to have a productive kind of fight depression exercise thing, you want to do about 25 minutes of some form of cardio. And if you do it every day.
You enjoy, like, we're not saying like go like maybe like the treadmill's like torture for you. Well, obviously don't do the treadmill.
And again,
find a thing with cardio that makes you feel happier and you actually enjoy, because then it will be easier to make it a part of your routine. And
you don't have to, again, it's not about burning out, right? You don't have to go all guns blazing. Take it little by little. And if you're depressed, you're not going to be able to go all guns blazing anyways.
No.
You're not going to, but you will feel immediately better by incorporating exercise into your life. You're just going to feel better. And then ultimately, I think a thing that we find to be very helpful and important is training in some form of martial art. And we think that's good for you because it engages your mind, engages your body, engages your spirit. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, a lot of the exercising that you would do, like, going to the gym or something, or going for a bike ride, you can also get a similar type of exercise from training in different martial art things.
Right. And it's going to help keep you accountable. It also, the side benefit is you'll be able to protect yourself better in the event you ever need to. But it is really like, I like to think of it as like self-therapy. It really is you fighting you and getting through, the pain, the sorrow, any things that, have been bad habits for you, all the stuff, anything that is unsavory is going to come out in your training, and it's going to make you have to face those things and work through them and pass them to overcome them to also become better at your martial arts. So it's a great way to help you just become a better person.
And, I think some people don't even know that they have depression. Some people don't even realize.
Well, yeah, some people have probably had a form of depression since they were little, and they just think this is how life is.
Yeah, if you feel like you're never getting the things that you want to get done, or you don't feel like you're meeting any of the goals that you set for yourself, or you're always getting ready to get ready and you're finding different things to hold you back, sometimes that really is because you don't realize that you're dealing with a form of depression. And again, the idea here is to set time for yourself where you go into this healing process. And the healing process is exercise. And the healing process is like doing martial arts. Or even, if you're not into martial arts,
properly.
I don't know who's watching this video or listening to this podcast, but if you're not into martial arts, there's still things like yoga. Get involved in an activity that holds you accountable to doing something and forces you to go. Because by you doing that, you're getting your body moving, you're getting your blood moving, and all these things have to happen. Usually when people go into depression, they actually do less and less and less. They sit in front of the TV longer, they sleep longer, they eat more.
Or sometimes they start doing things like drugs to try to numb the pain.
Right. Or they they might
alcohol.
They might be working, or especially like business owners, people who want to start businesses run into this a lot. Is they get so worked up in their business and they keep looking at the same stuff over and over and over, but they're not actually moving anywhere. They're just staring at stuff, and all these things happen because they're just kind of like a person who's not depressed, they're zippy. They go, and a person,
right, and they might get knocked down, but generally they're not going to stay knocked down for long. They're not going to be like in bouts of depression forever and ever. I'm not going to say that even like the happiest, healthiest people, I'm sure have doubts, they have worries. It's just they're in such a better mindset that those stumbling blocks aren't going to stumble them for as long.
Yeah, and so I think that's what really I wanted to talk about this week is acknowledging that a lot of people, you might feel that there's something wrong, and it's okay because you may actually have.
So changing your diet's helped you?
Yes.
Martial arts?
Yes.
Consistent exercise?
Yes.
Any other things for you?
Well, stop worrying has helped me. I forget who.
How'd you stop worrying?
You know what? It's funny. People go, I don't know how to do this. I can't stop doing that. I can't make this work, or I can't turn it off. But the reality is, yes, you can turn it off. You choose. You have a choice. Every day you have a choice. You can choose to make whatever day you're having a great day or whatever day you're having a bad day. You can choose to be upset over what life has brought you, or you could choose to be optimistic about what life is going to bring you. And all these are choices that you make, and these are things that you have to remind yourself of all the time, right? Instead of counting all the crap that's been terrible that has happened in your life, start counting your blessings. Start counting the things that are really good in your life. Start looking at the things that you really are good at, the things that bring you joy. Focus on those things, because everybody has things in their life that are not so great. We're human. We all suffer in our own ways, and we all have joy in our own ways. And we ultimately can wake up and decide today's going to be great, or we can wake up and decide today's going to be terrible. And what happens is, if you take the more negative approach, you go from dwelling on all the things that are no good for you, and you dwell on the things that isn't working for you. And, that's one day, and then another day you're still thinking about these things that are bad. And by the fourth or fifth day, you're so deep into this depression that you have to pull yourself out. And we all do this, right? Like from time to time, you have to check yourself, because no one's perfect. So from time to time, you have to go, all right, I'm having these negative thoughts in my mind. I'm not feeling happy about who I am. My life isn't going where I want it to go. Maybe I don't look the way that I want to look. And acknowledge that these things are present in your life, and then just forget about them. And how do you do that? Like, how do you forget? You fill up your time with other things other than sitting there in your own self,
and fill it up with other things
pity.
That will fix those things that you're annoyed about. Obviously there's things that you can't fix. Like, you can't fix the fact that a loved one's gone, but you can fix how you look at the fact that they are not here with you on this earth anymore.
Right.
You can make that change in your mind, just like you can choose to have a crappy day, or you can choose to have a fabulous day. So we're not saying like ignore your problems. No, instead of dwelling on them, go, okay, well, this bugs me, this bugs me, this bugs me. Now, what can I do about that right now to become a better person? And fix those things that I don't like.
Your emotions and your breathing work together. If you, I like to use the example, if you're scared of heights and roller coasters, right? You breathe a certain way when you're dealing with that situation of being scared of roller coasters and heights. Well, if you are scared of a cockroach, right? The emotions of being scared of a cockroach is the same emotions and feelings as being scared of heights.
Right.
The same thing happens to your breath in both situations. The same thing happens if you're happy. Right? You breathe a certain way. If you're laughing really hard, if you're feeling good, your breath really does dictate how your emotions are. And so maybe you can't really fix your mind right away and you can't control that, but you can control the way you breathe. And so I like to use Qigong as an exercise to help me develop breath control and focus on my breathing. And that in of itself helps regulate your emotional state.
Right.
Right? It helps your breathing. Your breathing helps how you feel. So when you're doing exercises like Qigong, the emphasis of those types of exercises is on your breathing and breath control and feeling what your body feels. So when you start delving into stuff like that, that can also help you feel better, right? So the combination of eating good food, getting good exercise, breathing right. People don't understand a lot of times that they breathe totally incorrectly.
Yes.
And they don't breathe with their body, right? The body and
Most
your
people
breath.
are shallow breathing.
Yes, you're right. The body and the breath want to work together, but through different life challenges, you get unsynced. So doing things like Qigong actually helps sync up your body and your mind and your breathing and all that good stuff. And so without getting real technical about everything, making these types of changes in your life will help mitigate the depression and stress that is in your life, thereby, canceling out the need to call the pharmacy up. Like, I'm sure there's been plenty of times where I feel down, especially, we work a lot of hours, it's go, and are we doing the right things, and are things happening quick enough, or all these different things. But and it brings your mental state down a little bit. But once you rather than going, I better go see a doctor, I'm feeling depressed, go exercise,
Go for a walk.
go do some Qigong. Do something that will make your body feel better, because
If you like to dance.
yeah,
Put on your favorite
yeah.
music and
as you start
dance it
building
out.
different parts of your body up, it brings, or I don't want to say body, different parts of you, right? Your mind, your spirit, your body. As you bring these things up, they grow. They go up together. What happens is when you're not, working on your mind, you're not working on your body, you're not working on your spirit. Each one pulls another one down. Mm-hmm. And so,
Right, that's why they need to have balance.
You want to have this nice balance in your life, and by having this nice balance, you can constantly move forward, because as you know, we're humans and science hasn't figured out how to keep us alive to be 500 years old yet, so life is not that long. And why go through life not feeling great about life when you can go through life feeling good about life? And the only difference is, one, you decided you're going to feel good, and two, you decided you're not going to feel good, because at the end of the day, if you are battling these things, this is something that can be changed just by simply changing how you see your life. But you got to get to that point, right? It sounds simple, and I know it's not that simple, right? But it is that simple if you just follow kind of steps, right? And then it's just good steps to follow, right? Eat good. Mm-hmm. It's a good thing to do.
Exercise.
That's good to do.
Learn how to do some self-defense and some meditation.
That's pretty decent to do too.
Have some sort of spiritual life.
Can't hurt.
Learn how to breathe properly so your body can be fully oxygenated. I actually, when I did some modeling towards my senior year, I actually knew a girl. She was overweight, and she was in my modeling class, and she learned how to properly breathe. And just through that, she started to lose weight, because her body was finally getting the proper oxygen it needed to assimilate all the cells and everything that was going on in her body. So proper breathing helps in so many ways. You're going to sleep better, you're going to feel better, you're going to have more energy. You may even lose a few pounds.
And finally, one other thing can help. A good friend. Mm-hmm. Someone to talk to.
Good support system.
Yeah, you want to have a good support system. And you know what? If the people that you're around now in your life is a bad support system, then you just get rid of those people out of your life, and find people who will be a good support system. Hey, Jamie.
Yeah.
So what kind of experiences have you had dealing with depression?
Ooh, I've had lots. I'm going to start off, probably, I think I had some form of depression probably always growing up. I just didn't realize it. I always felt like I was too different. The way I thought.
Well, you are different.
I am very different. But that didn't seem like a good thing to me growing up. I always felt like I was alienated, that I was so different from my family, that if I was, too different, that they might not love me and accept me. And I think most of this was just like stuff going on in my own head. I did have a little bit of a rough, upbringing, though there's definitely people that had way worse than mine. But it definitely was a dysfunctional family dynamic and stuff, especially I would say from like third grade on. It definitely got more crazy. But me and my dad's relationship was kind of off and stuff like that. So I had really bad self-esteem. My dad cussed me out and called me all kinds of not so nice things from the age of 7 on. And it was mainly because I had a different opinion than him, and I saw things about the world differently than him, which I still do to this day. And he just couldn't handle that. So he would lash out on me from a very young age. And so I had a very, very bad self-esteem for a very long time, like to the point that if you gave me a compliment, like I would be like, you should probably get your eyes checked, or yeah, I think maybe you're crazy, because like I really felt that way. Like if anyone called me beautiful or pretty or anything like that, like I thought there was something wrong with them, because they couldn't possibly be talking about me. So I struggled with that, growing up, and just not feeling like I was enough. So that was rough. So I always had that going on. And I think that's just because like I'm an empath. So, I was able to feel, all these things that were around me, everyone's energies, but I didn't know how to manage that and deal with that. And on top of that, having my own dad, belittle me on a regular basis, that just destroyed my self-esteem. So I didn't go seeking, drugs or anything like that in that time period. I think probably, thank God, by the saving grace, when I was in 7th grade, I was given a book called A Diet for a New America, and I became a vegetarian. And I don't have any pictures to show you right now, but when I go see my mom, I'll get some pictures and maybe do a blog post about this. But if I showed you a picture from, say, 5th and 6th grade, from when I was in 7th to 8th grade, like there was a huge difference. Like I looked like I was in death's doorstep. I was eating, standard American diet. My parents, we did having a dinner together and stuff like that, but sometimes it would be a mix of homemade stuff and box stuff. My lunches were atrocious. If anyone's in America and you know what your kids eat at school, it's pretty much the same as it was back then. It's not much different. It's horrible stuff. They're definitely not feeding the brains for longevity, for health, for mental clarity at all. So, I had all that going on, but I think becoming a vegetarian saved me. Not only did it get rid of my asthma, it ended up like I just felt healthier and happier. I, started getting, coloring to my body and stuff, and my body started healing. So I think that food system definitely helped me. But when I got into high school, I started, kind of do that slippery slope and started becoming what I call a junk food or carbitarian vegetarian, meaning you just eat a lot of like pasta and breads and pizzas and things like that. And so that stuff started getting kind of crazy then, and my life started dictating that and showing that. Definitely I wasn't making as good of choices at that time in my life. And I did start, drinking on the weekends with friends, like in my senior year, and started hanging out with like the wrong
When you were
crowd.
a kid?
Bro,
oh my God,
let's
dude.
not talk
oh my
about
God. I can't believe you would do something like that.
Let's not talk about the stories you told me about.
We're not talking about, we're not talking about me.
Well, don't be judging because...
I wasn't judging. I was just a little surprised.
Because your history is a lot more
Well,
crazy. We won't go there. That'll be another conversation for another day. But yeah, so
I can't hear you.
So I started doing, some stupid stuff. And then eventually, as I got older, I would say my diet was healthier, but I was still, like half standard American diet, half healthy, type of thing. And it definitely didn't serve me. I didn't make good choices during that time whatsoever. So I think diet has a huge play in your actual mental capacity for depression and just, making better decisions in general. But long story short, the next biggest part of my depression was when I got married. I realized I was married to someone that was bipolar, had PTSD, was cheating on me, all kinds of stuff. And I had maybe 8 months before that, I had lost my job, and just all these crazy things were going on in my life for that year. And I didn't really know what to do. I just hid, I didn't even let my parents know half of the stuff that was going on, because I felt ashamed. I really, really felt ashamed. And he tried to kill himself a couple times. He ended up on Zoloft, which actually made him try to kill himself again. And the only reason he did not die was because our roommate at the time happened to come home early, just find him on the ground foaming at the mouth, and was able to call 911, and he went into ICU and all that other stuff. But that was really insane. And so I ended up, leaving that relationship to find out, 2 weeks later, when I went back home to Florida, that I'm pregnant. And so I went through some depression there because at that time in my life, I had no thought process of, hey, one day I want to have children. I love children. I think they're great. I just didn't feel like I needed them in my life. So there was that. And then I also realized I was married to a psycho and he had all these crazy problems. So then I'm freaking out about that. And so that was a crazy point where I had to get over that. But the worst part was when I actually had my son Aiden born full-term stillborn, which was shortly after that. So that whole time period, that was 2005, I would say 2004 to 2005, my life was just insane. I actually was not on drugs, but if I wouldn't have known better, I would think so, because I was making just really, really bad decisions. And it was because I was not happy with me. I didn't trust me to make good decisions. And so even though I was getting, the Holy Spirit giving me guidance, don't do this or do this or whatever, I wasn't listening to anything that was coming from inside of me because I didn't trust me. My life was falling apart, so I wasn't listening to anything that was coming from inside of me, which was totally bad and totally wrong. But when I lost my son, I ended up going on Zoloft. And what happened was I was having some days I didn't want to get out of bed. Losing anyone close to you, especially a child or a spouse or a parent, like it's rough, it's hard. And I didn't want to get out of bed. I was just having like rough mornings and stuff like that. And so my then husband, suggested I go to my doctor when I was on my follow-up and let them know. So I did. And she recommended Zoloft. And I even asked, I said, do I need to take this every day? Like, I don't want something that I have to take every day. I really didn't want to be on drugs, like, at all. I'm really not for prescription anything. If it can be done naturally, like, that's the way to go. Prescription pills to me should be like an absolute last resort. And she said, well, no, you have to take it consistently for it to work. And so I was a little bummed out about that, but I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. Well, day one, I took it in the morning and everything seemed to kind of be okay. And then it was later that evening, we ended up having a late dinner, and we went out to eat. And I remember this, we were in Tampa and it was on Bush Boulevard at the IHOP. I remember like it was yesterday. And my husband was, walking in towards the door of the place, and I was walking towards where the main street was. And if any of you are watching this or listening to this or in Tampa and Bush Boulevard, I mean, that was back in 2005. So it's probably not as busy as it was then, but it was still very busy, even though it was like later in the evening. And I'm just standing there watching the traffic go by. And this thought enters my head that I should just walk out into it. Literally, I should just walk out into it.
Well, that's not very positive.
That's not a very positive thought. And thankfully, I wasn't, and I could only imagine what would have happened to me if I would have been on Zoloft longer. But at least I was cognitively aware enough to go, that's not good. That's not a good thought whatsoever. And so I immediately turned myself around, ran over to where my husband was, and I told him what happened. I was like, look, I just had this thought. Please stay close to me and make sure I don't do anything stupid, because I knew, like, these thoughts are going through my head. This isn't good. And when we get home, we need to flush all those pills like down the drain or something, like just get rid of them, which I know you're not really supposed to do that. But at the time I didn't know you weren't supposed to flush that stuff down the drain, but I had no idea. I just knew I wanted them out of my presence, like stat, because there was no way I was going to continue on these things. So that was my bout with Zoloft. Not good. Wasn't good for my ex and was not good for me. So that was insane. And then just all my life, I've had bouts of depression just because, losing a son, realizing that you made a mistake marrying someone who really doesn't love you and doesn't honor you, physically abusive, mentally abusive. Those are really tough situations to have to deal with. And so how did I get over all that stuff and move past that and even be able to feel peace with the fact that my son is not here with me? Mainly that has been through finding a good support system. having friends that I can talk to and I can rely on, and I know that no matter what I say, they're not going to judge me. They're only going to be there to either listen or to help me and push me past that and remind me that, I am good enough. I am enough. There's that. Definitely my eating system. If I am not eating clean, I cannot think clearly. I won't have enough energy. I won't feel good. I'll want to sleep all day. So eating, the exercise that we talked about, martial arts has helped me tremendously because it's helped me be able to deal with my empathic abilities of being able to feel everyone's energy. Now I can go, okay, I feel everyone's energy, but is it mine? Oh, it's not? Okay, I can push it to the side and I can honor that, what that person's going through, and I can feel what they're going through, but I don't have to take it on as mine, which would just make me more depressed or sad or feeling pains and injuries throughout my body that I didn't actually have. So martial arts has helped me with my mind, my body, my spirit to come together. And then keeping close to God and keeping positive things in my life as a whole. Like, for instance, I notice, and some people are probably going to freak out about this, but if I listen to mostly gospel and worship music and stuff like that, I notice that my daughter behaves better. I behave better. But as soon as I start listening to more worldly or secular music, whatever you want to call it, that may not have necessarily a positive message, then things get more chaotic in our lives. And so maybe that's not for you. Maybe you don't, feel that way or whatever. But I'm a firm believer that what you put in your body and on your body is what you're going to project out. So garbage in, garbage out, good stuff in, good stuff out. So for me, I'm always working at being a better self-corrector, paying attention to your verbiage. We didn't talk about that, but not just paying attention to what your thoughts are, but what are you physically saying about yourself? Are you like, I'm stupid, or I really suck, or I'm fat, or I'm this, or what are your I am statements? Are they positive or are they bad? And maybe they're bad right now, and maybe your thoughts are bad right now, but you can change them just by being aware that you're having that thought and going, you know what? I'm going to change that to this instead. And over time, you won't have to correct yourself as much. As long as you stay with those systems that keep you healthy, happy, and going forward, because like you just said a few minutes ago, is if one thing is off, they're all off. Your mind, body, and spirit need to be aligned, and they need to be, and that could be whatever you want. I'm not telling you what to follow spiritually or what to do or any of that stuff. Do what is right for you with your walk, where you are at in your life. But if you're looking all around you and nothing's going right, and everything's chaotic, and you feel like crap, and you feel horrible, and you don't want to get out of bed, or you're using substances to numb out the pain, then take a good look at yourself and decide, is this how you want to be for the rest of your life? And if it's not, then start making the simple changes that we talked about to have a better, happier life. If you're having toxic relationships, there's things that people can do to work and make their relationships better, but maybe you've tried everything possible and there's just nothing else but leaving now that's left. I mean, that's where I found myself. I prayed numerous times for God to either change his heart or give me a safe way out. I tried therapy. We tried, changing his eating habits, all kinds of different things, but he was an unwilling participant. There's only so much two people can do if one person's unwilling. It's kind of like if I need to, let's say, you got injured and you just decide to be completely dead weight. Well, I'm way smaller.
You gotta toss me out, man.
I can drag you, but if you're willing to take yeah, right. If you're willing to take,
use me as a decoy, run.
But if you're willing to take what strength you have and help me assist you, we can get a lot farther. You know what I mean? And then maybe we can both not die.
I saw you try to carry me. Look, man, just let me die. I'm like, good luck, Jamie.
Don't give up, bro. Say, don't give up. But yeah, it's the same thing. You might have some relationships that are dead weight, and in the back of your mind, it could even be family. It could be a spouse. It could be a friend. And I know it's rough and it's hard to think about not having that person in your life, especially a family person. But sometimes, distance makes the heart grow fonder. And sometimes setting those boundaries, it's not okay to treat me like this, and I'm not going to stand for this, and I'm not going to watch you destroy your own life. But know that I'm here for you. I'm praying for you. When you're ready, the door is open. You need to set healthy boundaries for yourself. So, and not just with other people, with yourself. If you know that eating a bunch of junk food is not helping you physically, mentally, whatever, then you need to set that boundary with yourself. Don't buy the stuff. You know, we talked about this the other day. If you buy it, you're going to do what?
Eat it.
You're going to eat it. And you're probably going to not use the serving sizes. You're probably just going to chow down and eat it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's so many things that you can do. And it's a work in progress, especially if, you know, like for myself, depression's been an ongoing thing in your life. Just know it's not the end of the world. You don't have to use prescription drugs to get over it. There's things that you can do naturally to take steps to move forward and start small. If you know, starting a healthy food regimen, and it doesn't have to be a vegan diet, by the way, like, you know, that's just what works for me. But if, you know, just make sure whatever you're eating, like we said, if it's meat, if it's seafood, it's clean, it's healthy, it's as organic as possibly can be, and it's something that ate its own natural food source. So you put the good stuff into your body, whether it's fruits, vegetables, or meat. It all needs to be the best that you possibly can afford to do. It's your medicine. Your food is your medicine. Do that, and then you know, start there, and then start exercising slowly. Find some cardio, like Sifu Phu is talking about, and do, you know, 20 to 30 minutes a day. Pick something that you love and you enjoy, so it's not like, you know, you're having to like drag yourself to go do it. You're happy and excited to go do it. So find the things that you love and start integrating them more into your life. And it doesn't have to be expensive. You know, there's tons of stuff online that you can do. You can exercise at home. If you find you like hanging around other people who are motivated and training, maybe going to the gym is a good idea for you, so you're around more people that are working on their goals, right? Yeah. And then, you know, take care of your spirit, whatever that means for you. Maybe it's meditating, maybe it's praying, maybe it's, you know, reading scriptures, you know, whatever that is to you. Find your spiritual oasis and integrate that into your life on a regular basis. And then on top of that, you know, finding good people to be around, having that support system, and getting rid of the toxic relationships in your life that you know are not serving you. I could tell you right now, I knew for the beginning, from the moment I was standing at the altar, that I needed to run. I just felt like I couldn't. I felt like there was nowhere for me to run. So I ended up like literally trapping myself in a situation I knew I needed to run from.
Well, you know, a lot of people do this. Mm-hmm. It's called self-sabotage.
Oh yeah. Oh, I was the queen of it.
You know,
queen of it.
I think a lot of people do that. You know,
as soon as
it doesn't matter. And
we did that with our business. We self-sabotaged it. Mm-hmm. We were just starting to get successful, and we're like, God, nope, because we were depressed. You had a lot going on. You just lost your good friend Tom. Mm-hmm. I had a lot going on. I was still like in an abusive marriage, and I'm trying to figure out how to get out of this or save my marriage, whichever, you know, comes first. And we self-sabotage ourselves from success. So yeah,
it's true.
It's true. So yeah, if you find yourself self-sabotaging yourself, that's a form of depression right there. That's telling you that something inside of you thinks that you're not good enough to have X, Y, and Z, or to be happy or to be healthy. And that's just not the case. Like, you have to start literally telling those voices no. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Yes? All right. So, you have anything else you want to say?
Nope.
No?
I'm tired.
You're tired. Why are you tired?
I'm hungry.
Let's talk about why
I'm not talking about it
why
in this
you look
podcast.
like you're about to fall asleep. Come on, real quick. Come on, they got a few more minutes.
Because I'm intermittent fasting, and I'm done talking because I'm hangry.
He's hungry, and so that's it. So we hope you enjoyed this podcast. Don't be hungry.
Maybe next time we'll talk about intermittent fasting.
Yeah, we just started this process.
But right now, I'm in the process of my intermittent fasting, and I'm hungry, and I'm done talking.
And as you can see, he's hungry. So, but yeah, so if you're depressed, you know, there is help. We're here for you too. If there's anything that we can do to help you in your progress of healing from that and getting past that, awesome. You know you're not alone. We both had our own experiences throughout our life in different ways and forms, but the formula is all the same. Get healthy, get happy, and stay consistent, and that will help change your life. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and we'll see you next week. Yeah?
Yeah.
Next week.
Well, maybe next week.
But if you like this podcast, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you know, give us a like, thumbs up, share it, all that fun stuff, and comment below. and we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.